Ray, let's talk about Arsenal. Last transfer window was quite frustrating. Obviously got a lot of people off the books. This time, spending the money in the transfer window. Gabriel Jesus, how big a signing would that be? How good a signing would that be for Arsenal?
Oh, it's been a brilliant signing. That was the area they had to strengthen. Was centre forward. We knew Lacazette, his time was up, and he was moving on. So Jesus, to get him through the door, you see the pictures in the papers yesterday when Eddie was hugging him. He'd be delighted to get a player of his calibre and what he's done so far in his career. And obviously he probably knows Mikel Arteta as well. So really looking forward to seeing how he settles into the Arsenal side. And he will get chances because that's one thing Arsenal do. They do create lots of chances. Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Saka from the right. So he will get opportunities.
What do you feel about if they miss out on Rafinha? He would have been a good signing.
Arsenal could be a little bit closer to that top four.
Ray, what do you feel about missing out on Rafinha?
Yeah, that's a bit of a blow on Lee. I mean, he's been a brilliant player for Leeds. We know every single Leeds fans will look at him and say, we're desperate to keep him, but he's moved on. That was a player that would have been another real strength for the squad, because we know they've got to play Europa League next year, so you're going to have a lot more games than they did last season. So you need that big squad. But they are quite, not too bad on the wide areas, with Saka, with Martinelli, with Smith Rowe. But again, if they could have got him, it would have been a fantastic signing for Arsenal's point of view.
Yeah, do you think, in terms of the window, because I know Tielemans is still potentially an option, which I don't know about you, Ray, but I would love that. I think he's a top player.
Yeah.
How likely do you think that is to happen? Or I suppose a better question is, do you think there's other areas that Arsenal probably need to prioritise now?
Well, I think Martinez is one, centre-half position. I know they're in for him at Ajax. I'm looking down the spine of the team, and I think that's where they're trying to strengthen. As you mentioned there, Tielemans is a really good ball player. They've got Partey, who had his injury problems last season. He missed quite a bulk of the games. You've got Lokonga, who's going to get him better. He might be a little bit young still, but he will improve as we go on in central midfield. But I think that's the area. I mean, Xhaka is getting that little bit older. I think that's the area they really need to look at. Central midfield, ball. They've got players who can win the ball back. But it's when you get that quality, you can get through the lines to Odegaard and Smith Rowe and Martinelli. That's a ball player you need. And Tielemans could be ideal for Arsenal. So let's hope they, with my Arsenal hat on, they can somehow get him over the line. And in the ideal world as well, they want to get everybody signed up who they're looking at by the tour. I think the tour's on the 13th of July. They're going to Orlando. So if they can get, the next 2 weeks will be vital. If they can get people through the door and ready to take them on tour, and that's where you can really work hard with them and see what they're going to bring to the team.
Ray, can they get top four next year or what?
I think it's going to be tough, Joe, if I'm being honest with you, mate. You look at Man City and Liverpool, they're still miles ahead of everybody. Chelsea, we don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea yet. I think they'll still be there and thereabouts, but I still think they're a little bit away from Liverpool and Manchester City. Then there's a fight then for fourth place. You look at Spurs, who are going to be right up there with the signings they're going to be making. Manchester United's the one for me. I don't know what's going to happen there. Ten Hag, obviously first season, whether players really take to him and they can bring the new players in. West Ham, what happens with them? So look, they've got to be aiming towards that top four. And look, they had a great chance last year, Joe. They just run out of steam really at the end, losing to Newcastle and Spurs. But if they keep making these signings, at least the crowd will be on their side. And one thing about the Emirates last season, especially in certain games, the crowd, there's a real connection with the players and the crowd, which is going to be very important if they're going to try and get in that top four.
Yeah. Ray, will you do me a favour this weekend?
Where are we going, Laura?
You're going to be invited to my birthday. You're going to be the only man there. Does that sound all right?
I'm going out today, so you can beat me later if you want.
Oh, really? How can I turn that down?
You'll be all right. You can go out Wednesday.
How can I turn Ray Parlour down? If I don't see you, which is a big if, will you do a Cobra bomb for me?
Of course I will.
Excellent.
I'd love to do a Cobra bomb.
And one for
Didn't even have to ask, did you?
He was doing it anyway. Ray, lovely to speak to you, mate. Enjoy your day.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.